Hello,
abrupt.
everybody, and
Hello.
welcome to CLCI Live.
It's a special CLCI Live.
Special,
Yes,
but
because it's Jerome's
It's Jerome's
birthday. It's Jerome's
Yay!
birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy
Thank you guys.
birthday.
Thank you guys.
Happy birthday.
Like, what?
Yeah, I know. My hair's a little messed up.
Sorry.
Let's just jump into it. Let's just go into it. Last time we were talking about like
We've been
the
talking
core
about the core
competencies.
competencies. Yeah.
We're done with that.
Mhm.
Boring and dry. We're talking about fun stuff now.
I
Yay.
liked talking about those. Those were fun.
Eh. I felt like I had to like whip you guys into shape and like make sure we did everything in a timely
Mhm.
manner.
You
Now
tried.
we can just kind of breeze around and talk about whatever.
Mhm.
Well, more than whatever. We do have a specific topic.
Yes.
Oh, looks like we're just calling it Horror 101. That's scary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Horror 101. Is your mind haunting you?
Scary, scary. Time of year.
The answer is yes.
Does that mean we have
Always.
ghosts in our mind or what?
Yeah. A head full of ghosts. I think that's the name of like a book.
Before we get started, though, if you're watching out there, or whenever you decide to watch, go ahead and don't forget to join in the conversation. Leave a comment, like and share, follow, all of those good things. If you want to have more great coaching information, this is the place to be. So be sure to follow, like, subscribe. Alrighty, are we ready?
Yep.
To move to the how am I echoey but not Anthony? We're
I
using the same mic.
I know, that's what I
Talking to
thought.
the mic. Maybe you're talking towards the window and it's bouncing off the window.
Perhaps,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I'll try to get closer. Maybe we need to change the direction of the mic. Okay, so we kind of talked about it, right? Is your mind haunting you? Your mind was a haunted house. What ghosts might we find lurking in there? What scary rooms? Do we want to do the exercise?
I think that's
Uh,
probably a nice thing to get started with.
A palate
Yeah, probably
cleanser?
Yeah.
Her.
Let's do it.
Okay, so then I'm gonna scroll
Or
on down.
should we talk into first what we're doing or just dive?
I think I think this will introduce us nicely.
Okay.
You know, so everybody here, I'm gonna just walk us through. Feel free, you four can join in the exercise. If you want, you can close your eyes. You can get comfortable. It's fall. It's the Halloween season. So we're gonna take a moment and imagine that our house or our mind is a house. And this house might be a little bit haunted. So take a moment, construct your house. What does your house look like? Is it old and creaky? Is it a newer house? Is it, 1960s house? What kind of house is your mental house? And how many rooms are in this house? What are those rooms for? What is contained in each of those rooms? Is there a room for your memories? Is there a room for family? Is there a room for whatever? So just take a moment, think about what rooms are in this house. And as we are thinking about our house, I'm going to paint a picture for you. It's late at night. You're getting ready for bed. It's quiet. And all of a sudden, you start to hear some strange noise start to come out and bubble up inside our house. And we're going to go investigate that sound. So we're going to go walking down the hall. And we're going to start to figure out what might be haunting our house. So what is it in this house that is haunting us? It's our mental house. So what is it? Is it a ghost? Is it a memory? What is bringing up this sense of haunting for you? And I think we can pause there and then we can talk about how we can approach that. So like what might come up in that step for people? I know Lisa mentioned something.
mean, actually, I went to the history of something that was always frightening for me when I would go to my grandmother's house in my bedroom there, which is more towards the front. There's a tree outside, and I would always see the scary looking shadow. Yeah. And for some reason, it was always scary, but I knew it was a tree.
But it still scared you.
But it still scared me. Yeah. Yeah.
Mine was like, sorry, go ahead, Jerome.
I was just going to say really quickly, I think what's interesting is while I was going through it, and I haven't really completely figured out exactly what's haunting me, but I am torn between the physical and mental decision that I feel like is probably something that people are going to make in this process. So that's just something I think I just wanted to point out.
Well, explain more of that to me. What do you mean by the physical and mental decision?
So I would say more so of like a physical.
Oh, hello.
Jump scare.
Hello.
Yay.
I thought
We're
I'd
talking
go
about-
Joining.
Glad you could join us.
Misha, we're
Samantha.
talking about making a haunted house in your mind, doing a mental exercise to find out what goes through there. Jerome, you were sharing.
Yeah, so going throughout that process, I was kind of, and I still am a little bit torn between a physical memory, I guess more physically based, as opposed to something that's emotionally haunting me over time. So, yeah, I just wanted to point out that's an interesting divide that I have right now going on.
I think both could
my head.
be a haunt, though, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Both are a form of what might be haunting you in your mental haunted house.
Mhm.
Jen?
Yeah, mine is very much like the ghosts of Christmas past. Like it's all like different people that are part of like a learning or a message, usually painful, but part of my life, part of my story in some way. Yeah, most of mine have people. And what's funny is I drew the house. It's a big house.
It's a big house. Yeah.
We got a lot of haunts in my
Lot of
house.
rooms.
Mansion.
Yeah.
It's a mansion. It's a mansion. It's a haunted
Fancy.
mansion. Yes.
Well, if you're
We
gonna
could
go,
all be so
better make
privileged
it a
to have
mansion.
dream mansions.
It's interesting, like the things that come up. So I think like we're just starting to touch on it and we can dig deeper, but I do like the next steps in this sort of exercise. And then once we talk about them, then we can sort of swing back around to more tangible stuff. So what it suggests is once you
I could give something current though, versus
absolutely.
I have a practical exam coming up on Friday, so I'm definitely got a room for that. Okay, go ahead.
That is currently haunting you. Yes.
All by itself room.
So the next steps in the exercise would be we sort of talked about finding your haunts and then entering the haunted rooms essentially, and entering them without judgment and without fear essentially, maybe meeting the ghosts even, instead of like running away from the scary things or the scary ghosts, like taking a moment, meeting the ghosts, talking to them, asking them what they're trying to tell you. And also if it's scary, there is the option of like bringing a guide with you, and that guide can be a lot of different things. It could be a person, a coach, a therapist, any number of things. Can you click on the next there for me? And then you can talk about like lighting, the metaphor continues, lighting up the room, which is turning the lights on, which is really just sort of taking it out of the scary, shadowy, unknown darkness and shining a light on it. And feels a little like shadow work at that point. And then maybe even rearranging things, changing the way you look at it, like rearranging furniture. And then even just like being able to shut the door on the thing that's haunting you. Like, and then I think that sort of comes up a lot when we are meditating, right? That ability that sometimes it's putting things in a basket. With this metaphor, you can think of it as, well, I can shut the door on that right now, and I can walk down the hall and open a different door, and maybe it's not as scary, or and so I think this metaphor has some interesting application that might actually be tangible and helpful. And that's about it. We can hop out of the metaphor now. It was a fun intro. And
what did we learn from that intro?
I don't know. What did we learn, you guys? I was talking the whole time.
What is the purpose of that?
I learned that.
Are you supposed to do that with clients?
I learned
You could.
you could.
Okay.
I mean, I learned though that metaphor or analogy, whatever it is, works very well for me. Like I immediately was like, yes, that makes sense in my mind. Whereas somebody else might be like,
Of course, it worked well for you. You get a mansion. Get a Rolls Royce with that metaphor too.
That's great. No, but I love that. I love that it works for you. That's awesome. And I think it does. It like takes this, I think it takes things that are scary, right? Like things that are scary and can sort of start to snowball and manifest. And it, for me, I like that I can put it in a room, or I can put it, I can look at it and address it. And I tend to think scary things are cute. And so like when I start to think of it as a ghost, or it gets cuter to me. So it gets less scary when I look at it that way.
I think I figured out what I meant by splitting into like a physical fear and then also an emotional fear. I think so this is just for me personally. So I have 2 rooms now, and it's the physical one is the process of starting. The emotional one is the fear of starting a process at all. So in a really head-based fear space, and then the physical one is you already know what to do. You just got to get out there and do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right.
Very process oriented rooms there. So your rooms have computers in them.
Or exercise equipment.
Or exercise equipment, yeah.
Can you just, because there'll be other people who give me a little, what was the prompt?
Yeah, so the prompt is essentially if we're taking a moment and we were imagining our mind as a haunted house. So as a house, and our house is haunted. So everybody sort of sat and I said, construct your house. What kind of house is it? How big is it? Is it a new house? Is it an old and creaky house? Is it, a modern house? What kind of house do you have? And then we're going to create rooms in the house. And so each of those rooms has a purpose. So what is that room for? What does it contain? Does it contain family? Is it a bedroom, and the bedroom's for relaxation and sleep? Like each room has a purpose, but our house is haunted. So now we're going to think about, okay, what is haunting our house? And for Jen, it was ghosts. She has ghosts, and those ghosts are definitely like people from her past. For Jerome has a room that represents getting things started, and so the rooms can be a lot of things that haunt us, but our houses are haunted by one thing or another. And then from there we were starting to, meet the ghosts and the haunts essentially. Yeah.
So what I really love is it's another fabulous exercise for coaches to give their clients without the added suggestions. Right? Like what, just how many rooms are in that, or whatever house comes to mind, draw out that house, how many windows, how many doors, but rather than saying out loud what they might represent. So it's what a wonderful, it kind of reminds me of the different, visualizations and things like that, but an actual somatic experience to write out the house and draw it out. And then to be able to ask open-ended questions to our clients, like what's haunting in that house, which is your brain. And it's interesting. A phrase came to mind. In my spiritual community, I had a friend who used to tell me, you can't go into my brain because that's trespassing. You don't have permission. And don't go into yours alone because it's dangerous.
Right? Yeah.
Because I can do a lot of creative, I have a good imagination, and sometimes it can spiral in a way that's very negative and dysfunctional, right? The imagination can be wild on the self-deprecating side of things. And so when we're working with our clients, it's to find out what kind of ghosts or what kind of gremlins are trying to eat at us. I heard a story around people in recovery and how you can do all the good work, but you have to know that the disease in the hallway doing push-ups ready to put you down. And so how can you take care of yourself now so you don't have to worry about the force of the disease? And with our clients, we have to think the same way. What is it going to help? How is it going to help you to look at these ghosts? And how would you rather look at them? So like you saying they're cute, I'm like, I don't know if I could call it cute yet, but right. But the idea is like we can start to change the way we look at the things that were haunting us so that they no longer need to haunt us.
For sure. I love, as you were sharing, Misha, too, and you were saying like you have spiraling thoughts and everything, and I was like, hers is a spiral staircase, but it goes to nowhere, right? Like, and then when you said it was eating at it, I was like, oh, somebody's house might have termites. They're just fun because,
but it either goes to nowhere or it ghosts to nowhere.
To nowhere, yeah. But that's so it's this fun opportunity to just use metaphor. I think it's something that doesn't always land with me is like life wheel, right? We can life wheel, which is great. But I think that something like this is, again, it's another way for us to approach life and our mind, which is how we experience it, and do it in a fun and creative way. And that can actually bring a lot of insight for us. And really, this also brings us to the overarching topic, which is the things that do haunt us, right? We've kind of started to scratch the surface there with this exercise and this metaphor. And so now I think we can dive a little deeper into it, which is like, what is this? Anthony was the one who came up with this thought today, this topic. So like, what is this?
Of course.
Yeah. What are we talking about when we are talking about being haunted?
I guess to start off, like, who here believes we can actually be haunted?
By like ghosties?
In a metaphysical, spiritual sense. Because I think that's like, I'm guessing, I don't know the actual etymology of to be haunted. Like a haunt is like where something resides. Like that's, I guess, what the word means. But when we talk about it, we're usually referring to ghosts. Who here does believe that spiritually someone can be haunted or a place can be haunted?
Are you asking without judgment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I want them to, I would like them to explain, okay, what does it mean to be haunted in that context? Because we're using it as a metaphor for coaching, but what does that actually mean to someone who does believe that haunting is real?
Don't know that I believe it's real, but I don't also not believe it, because there's times, I'll have a thought of a friend and hadn't thought about them in a long time who have passed. And I'll just go, hello, kind of thing. But is that because it's my psyche coming in there, or is it because there's energy around us? I don't know. I don't think about it too much. I just recognize that.
I do also feel like, as somebody who has visited like very historical places and places that have a lot of history, both good and bad, and I don't know, again, if it's just me bringing the knowledge, but I do feel like there are places that feel like they have soul. Like there is, to me, like there's just an energy there. There is something there that is tangible and palpable, and it feels different than walking into Walmart, right? Like, and it's powerful. Like visiting the pyramids I didn't expect it to be powerful, and it was so powerful. It was emotional to be there, and there's just this sense of history and the beginning of humanity and all of this stuff. And so I feel like there is the opportunity for places to hold energy, and for us as human beings to have a different experience because of the energy a place holds. And I'm not sure that is what haunting is, but I don't think it's not what haunting is either. So yeah.
Yeah,
Jen, Jerome, Misha.
I think along with Brooke, I believe in the presence of energy in certain areas, certain spaces, but to necessarily be haunted is probably a mindset. I would say, just depending on how you see the situation. So personally, I don't believe in haunting, but I do believe in presence of energy.
Yeah. The LaLaurie house in Louisiana, like
Queen
there's
Mary.
so yeah, there's so many horrible things that happen there that it just like standing outside of it is like weird and creepy. Like yeah.
Well, there's in Louisiana again, New Orleans area, the Voodoo Queen
Mhm,
that you go and visit and
mhm.
make a wish.
Marie Laveau, I believe.
Yeah, Marie Laveau, yeah. So very cool
Mhm.
stuff. We got to bring you to Louisiana sometime. I love it.
Aren't they like the worst in education? And...
No, but New Orleans is amazing.
Oh.
It's just such a cool city. Okay.
When is the water?
Anthony, you got to be careful. We might have some folks that are in our audience from Louisiana.
And I'm just quoting a true statistic that I'm making up right now.
Louisiana and Jerome.
I still think that is a true statistic. I mean, I want to go to Louisiana.
Oh my god.
But this leads me.
Abby is
This
from
brings up a question for me. If you're a coach and your client believes they're being haunted,
Mhm.
and you don't believe in haunted or haunting, how do you approach that?
With curiosity.
With curiosity. Yeah.
You do everything else. Curiosity.
You don't need to change,
Right?
you don't need to change their mind about it.
Have to be. Yeah, I mean, this is important because it's different. Like some people believe in the horoscopes and the astrology.
Mhm.
Whoops, and there she goes Lisa. The ghost got her.
Yeah.
Or at least it's ghosted
Okay.
us.
She is a ghost. Yeah.
Does that mean Restream is haunted? I mean, I don't know. I totally agree with what Brooke and Jerome were saying around energy.
Yeah.
Like there are places that I go like, oh, this doesn't feel okay. Right. Or, oh, this feels really amazing. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And typically it's for me in a lot of ways, it's a difference between indoors and outdoors. I just love nature. And so it's very rare. The ghost is back, by the way,
Yeah.
Lisa. So yeah, but I just, I always want to bring in that other perspective. Like here, we're talking about haunting and haunted, and what does that mean, and how our brains can really wreak havoc for us. And I think there was also a phrase around the things we do not see are often the scariest, right? The unknown, that's where a lot of people get their fear, right? And so how do we work with that? But then also this idea, there's that whole topic, but then as a coach, what are the best practices to approach the unknown with our clients and the fears that they have about the unknown that could be haunting them?
In that space, like I remember my dad, it's one of the things that sticks with me. My dad, I mean, there are just certain things that conversations we've had that come forward, and that's definitely one of them where we were talking about something that was very scary, and we think it was health related, and I was scared to go out and get basically like tested, to go find out what was happening, to go get an ultrasound to find out. And he was like, Brooke, you're scared because you don't know, right? So in your head, you're living all the worst things. And he's like, well, even if it is the worst thing, at least you'll know what your next steps have to be, right? At that point, like you're going to have the information, and you're going to be able to create a plan, and you're going to be able to do. So not doing it is just keeping you in this suspended state of fear. So
we need to burst the fantasy bubble,
yeah.
right? The fantasy is all the things we're making up about it.
Yes.
Right? They could be true, but we don't know. And the longer we don't know, the more painful it can
Which
be,
is
because we're ruminating.
To circle back to like Lisa's tree, right? Like, we hear a sound, we hear a bump in the night, and we don't know what it is. And for me, it's a lot scarier if I don't find out what it is, right? But if I hear the bump in the night, I go out, I investigate, I go, oh, this is what it was. I'm not scared anymore. But if I hear it, I can sit there and don't figure it out. I can sit there and think, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's this. To be fair, it's usually me sending Anthony to figure out what it is, not me. Not the other way around.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
my
afraid
wife
of
and I,
ghosts or being haunted anymore. Just let it wash
we've been
over.
in this house for 3 years, and at 5 in the morning, almost every day, there's like it sounds like something's cracking, like, and our already in that side of the house, it's 4 inches lower than the rest of the house. So we're thinking the house is gonna fall. But every day,
At the same time.
I mean, it's generally around the same time, but it's really strange. And I think it's just the wood stretching and stuff with the change in temperature.
Yeah.
But it's not a good sound. It doesn't feel good. Like not.
I feel like
Jen, come in.
Yeah.
I just like the question, is your mind haunting you? My thought is like, is your mind not haunting you? like is anyone okay? I don't know. To me, this is just like an everyday thing. Like, yes, of course my mind is haunting me.
I think yes, but I think that like I can look back into my past and I can remember times where there was a lot more noise in there, right? There was a lot more going on.
For sure.
And it felt a lot more overwhelming and a lot more impossible. And so I can say, yes, there are definitely, some ghosts, some creaks, some bumps in the night, but it's not as haunted as it used to be, for sure.
Yeah, agree, 100%. I mean, the behaviors that I use to mask the haunting, they were much more intense prior to now. I don't really have much to mask. I mean, of course, my mind still haunts me, but like you said, it's tolerable. it's not running my life, but yes, it's there for sure.
Is your mind haunting you, Anthony?
My mind is haunted. Like I don't think of my mind as an entity that haunts me, because I am my mind. It's more of like a container for things that can haunt you or cannot haunt you. It's like a house. It's the metaphor of that house. So, but no, I would not say that my mind haunts me. It's just things in the mind can haunt you.
Okay, things in the mind. Sure. I guess I'm using that interchangeably. I can see that. Yeah.
What else? So we were talking about, Anthony, this topic. You put up a really big and interesting bit of information. You asked us if we believed in haunts being actually haunted.
So I mean, just generally speaking, whether it's not metaphysical or otherwise, like a haunt or being haunted is like when something that used to physically be there is no longer present, and yet it somehow still lingers and still is there, causing some sort of effect. So how this relates to like the psychology of like being haunted, you could be haunted by things that happen in the past that are no longer there that are still affecting you. So like some of the examples that I have right here that you might see in like coaching is like haunted by like a future that can no longer like be achieved or manifest. So I'm haunted by a past relationship. A client might say, I keep dating people who remind me of my ex. It's like I'm chasing the feeling I used to have, but it never feels right anymore. And this person wants to find a partner, but they keep being haunted by this past relationship.
I think
and
we
how
know somebody like that.
Oh yeah, actually, no. Wow. As a matter of fact, I do know. I know both me and Brooke. It's crazy because I was there for that, and that is true. We both know somebody who's haunted by a past relationship, and it continues to inform their future dating choices
over and over again. This is maybe not how you should be approaching.
But that could be also the same with like a past career or a past way that like who you were, who you imagined you were in the past. You feel as that should somehow always be reflected in the future, but times change and you change.
It's interesting because there is I understand this and experience this to some degree because when I was in college and even my first career, I expected to be doing for a living something very specific, being very creative in a very specific way, right? And I am now not creative in that way anymore, which is weird. And I'll have moments where I go, am I the person? Am I just not at all the person I thought I was going to be? But I am creative in totally different ways now. And I sit and I think about it, and I was actually just the other day asking myself this question. Like, I was like, is that something you would want to be doing? And when I really ask myself that question, that profession would require me sitting in front of a computer for 12 hours a day, a lot of times, right? Like drafting and doing these very meticulous design things. And I've become such a physical being. My creativity is expressed through the physicality in my body now, which is a totally different way of being creative. But it is just as rewarding. But it's just like it is totally different, and I love how I'm creative now. And so I'm like, I don't think that is what I would want to be doing anymore. So it's like this. I've come to this sort of acceptance with that.
So it's like you're in the process. If we're sticking with this metaphor, it's like you're exercising that ghost.
Yes, literally.
I guess so. It's a metaphor and a pun. That I did intentionally.
Yes, I'm exercising it, and it's also that I'm accepting it. Like because I'm still creative, and I'm still a creative person, and I want to say I'm still the same creative person. I still have the passion and love for creativity. I just have found an entirely new way of creating and expressing, and it doesn't make me any less creative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
so
that's
it's a different expression.
Yeah, and I really
value.
I'm okay with that, right? Because I love the way I express my creativity now. It's just a completely different way of doing it. So yeah, that's actually feels physically more creative, which is interesting. So the other one is so mentally creative. This one is definitely like it's still mental math, but you know.
So with that haunting, that if we're going to use your example of like that first idea that you had of yourself to be creative that required you to sit 12 hours now, that is something which in the research we call a hauntology and a lost future. So that idealized version of yourself is kind of, it's not really a lost future because you could do the work to pivot if you wanted to, but we'll call it a lost future right now. Are you still now like perseverating about it? Is it influencing your actions? Is it causing you a lot of dread when you're like choosing what to do? Good. That might not be the case with your clients though. The client might still be stuck in that loop and might be haunted by that past version of whatever has been going on, and it might still be continuing to inform them of their future. I want to take a step right here or stop right here because we're kind of getting the territory of like trauma and therapy. But it doesn't have to be that way. Like I guess a low stakes example for myself is with music. A hauntology or a lost future is I used to play music. I used to be a musician. I used to like listening to a lot of different forms of music. And I just been for the past maybe 10 years listening to the same genre of music over and over again. And
I can attest to that.
Every time I try to find a new genre of music to listen to or get excited about, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really want to like commit to this, and nothing's really interesting me. I want to go back to what is like comforting.
I think it's interesting that it feels like a commitment, like a big, deep.
It kind of is, because at the time, like when I was younger, like this is before my 20s, maybe in my teenage years, like music was like an identity almost.
Yeah.
But that's not who I am anymore, and I don't really want music to be like part of an identity, but I'm still haunted by that mode of thinking. And I still get in my head is like finding new genres of music to enjoy isn't committing to a new identity. I would like to let that ghost go and just enjoy new forms of music. It's really hard though, and I just default to what I've liked for the past 10 years. So that's like a low stakes version of a hauntology. Now, how did you guys, as my life coach, help me find new genres of music to enjoy?
I don't think they'll help.
Well, I'm pretending to be the client who doesn't know anything about life coaching.
Well, I would ask your
And we would have to have that conversation first.
Mhm.
yeah. I would ask first more about your why.
Mhm.
Like,
I guess
what
my
has
why
you
is it
searching?
feels a little stale, feels repetitive, feels just like I'm mostly just sort of basking in nostalgia rather than being excited about new things. Because at the time, when I first found the music that I currently listen to now, it was new and it's exciting. Now it just feels like I'm just trying to relive the good times that were around the music rather than just enjoying the music itself.
Is there something wrong with that?
Not necessarily, but it feels like I'm just kind of, stuck in my old ways. And now I'm not liking that I'm listening to music for nostalgia's sake. I want to listen to music because it's new and exciting and it's interesting.
So, what are you thinking that would look like?
Just probably dedicating more time to listen to music in general because that's not something I usually do anymore. And if I do, I default to what I'm comfortable with. Now it's like I listen to a lot of audiobooks or podcasts or nonfiction things rather than just music in general. So the fact that I listen to music at all, that needs to be increased, which I know for a fact is true because my Spotify Wrapped is getting more and more depressing every single year as it
I
goes
had the
on.
same. I had that like a few years ago where I had this moment where my Spotify Wrapped was like, I was like, I am depressed about the things I've listened to for the last year because music was also very important.
Yeah, I can
And so-
track the amount of music I
and I-
listen to, which is primarily through Spotify, and that has been going steadily down.
I recently looked at my Spotify though, and I was like, I am listening to all kinds of. So it is possible. It's possible to come back, Anthony.
But there's something
I just need
Anthony
another 10
mentioned.
years, and I'll come back.
There's something Anthony mentioned about the nostalgic and the music, even though he feels stale with that. Is there anything around that concept about new music not having that history to it?
I think it's because a lot of the music I listened to was influenced by the situation I was in and the people I knew, and they were introducing me to new music. So, like, I've worked at different jobs, I hung out with a lot of different people in college, and I had all these different influences. Um, I'm not as social as I used to be, so like that circle has really shrank to just the core group of people who we all listen to the same music. So there's not a lot of whole new things that are introduced into the mix.
So to step into that space of new music, the sphere, if you will, of influence in your history was from outside. Is there a way to introduce that concept?
Ask that as an open-ended question. How could you introduce?
Yeah.
How could I introduce? I mean, the answer seems obvious to me, which is find new people to hang out with and new social situations to put myself in. But it feels weird when I think about like I'm not really wanting to get to know you as a person or because I enjoy like doing these different activities. I really just want more music to listen to, which seems odd if that is my goal and I'm trying to meet new people. Um, I should really be wanting to have more new, interesting experiences, and then by extension, maybe I'll get new music recommendations.
What does odd and weird mean to you?
Atypical, uh, maybe in this situation, not the right way of going about things.
Would it be fair to say that there's some judgment there?
Yeah, I'm making a judgment. I would find it odd if people, like, for, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a hobby that I have. Like, I go disc golfing sometimes. I would find it odd if somebody that I didn't know came into our group of friends to go disc golfing, but what they really weren't interested in was disc golfing or meeting new people. They were interested in getting music recommendations.
Although there are people who disc golf and listen to music.
That's true,
So
which
you
is kind
could
of
just be like,
annoying.
what are you listening to? I love that actually because I like
What, like
music
having the
out there.
Bluetooth on, like,
Yeah, I love it. I love hearing
I
other people's
guess.
music.
It's I go when it's really busy, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of different people, and there would be a lot of different music. But so to correct that sort of cognitive dissonance, I should go out with the intention of to like places where other people can enjoy music. So different musical venues, going to different shows. Yes, should. I see. I don't know who posted that, but I'm gonna
I'm
be.
thinking it too. I didn't post it, but I am thinking it.
I will be shooting myself because that would be the best way to find people who have an interest in music.
Anthony, I'll just give you my dad's phone number, and he will give you every time I speak to that man. He gives me another music recommendation.
Your dad does have a weird.
Every single time.
He
Have
has
you
a,
heard of this person? Have you heard of that? Like
He has a
without
very
fail.
varied taste in music.
Hugely varied taste. Music. I was raised with music as my religion, so like it's like another form of language in our family. Like, what
But
are you listening to?
The whole point, we're getting in the weeds of this. What I was trying to illustrate with this fake coaching session is that it does not need to be super high stakes trauma. I'm being haunted by these demons in my past. It can be kind of low stakes stuff. But the goal that I have in mind, which is finding new music genres to enjoy and listen to, is informed by things that are haunting me, which is old situations, person I used to be, old genres of music that feel comfortable. It's still informing the goal that I have now.
Yeah, and I think it can extend to like habits, right? Things like that. Like I've done this the same way, you know, for as long as I possibly can, and I can't do it this way anymore, and now I'm panicking. Or I have done it this way and I want to change it, and I'm not sure how to change it. And I think when we're changing like deep-seated habits in ourselves, we can find that they come back to haunt us in like little sneaky ways.
But
it's
there's a difference too with Anthony's sharing. His is more comfort based and not something that is bad for him per se. And then as you were delving into the explanation, there's the bad for us, and then the stuff that we just feel comfort from.
Yeah.
That I think we're touching upon.
very cool.
There's something that's coming to mind for me. I had a conversation with a friend recently who's going through a really hard time, and she said something along the lines of like, it's just the way I am. And it was in response to me, you know, kind of gently pointing out that I thought she was being really hard on herself for not handling the hard time flawless and perfect. She's kind of up and down, and I wanted to congratulate her on the good days, you know, and continuing to get back up. And she kind of belittled it and said, you know, that's just the way I am. And that to me is it's representing the haunt of something. And I don't know how deep it goes for her. But this is where, you know, depending on the conversation, obviously I'm talking about a friend, I'm not talking about a client, but depending on where the conversation would go, there absolutely is potential for referring out. There is potential for this is a deeper conversation about this person's past that a coach is not equipped to facilitate.
Beyond our scope of practice.
Yeah.
It sounds like from that conversation, like she's turning herself into a ghost with that statement. Because you usually see with ghosts, at least in media, like they don't really change. They just that's the way they are, and they're stuck in this little slice or moment in history. Which I don't. That might require a therapist to deal with if you're starting to say, "Hey, I'm stuck. I'm this way, and I'm just that way."
I mean, as soon as somebody says it's just the way that I am, I hear I don't want to change. That's what I like. That's what when it's said that way. Now, not going to assume that that person isn't wanting or willing to, but how they're presenting is it's. I'm not open to work on this right now. To me, for me, that feels like a big brick wall. I mean, do you guys get that sensation? Like if a client said it's just the way that I am, I guess there's a lot of
I
things
would probably, yeah, I mean, I would probably ask, is that how you would like to continue to be?
Right. And I did, I made that statement about maybe, but you get to decide going forward how you want to be. And there was,
which is what you would say as a friend, not a coach.
Right. Right. But in the sense where I'm acknowledging that from this moment of awareness, you're at a choice point and you can decide. But I don't believe she wants that choice point. I believe there is comfort in believing I am just the way I am. Because if that's true, it's easier. It's harder if she understands I can change that. I can work on that. I can put effort towards that and fail and stumble for years and then maybe potentially make progress. I mean,
it might be harder now, but in the long run, and that's like short-term thinking versus long-term thinking is really right.
Yeah.
It's also kind of scary because as soon as you acknowledge that you can be different, it's like you also have to take responsibility for the way you are now. And that's like,
yes. And
it'd
that
be really hard if your
yes.
situation is kind of like shitty. Now, obviously, there might be external. There is not maybe there is external reasons for the reasons why people are the way they are, but like also an accumulation of your choices up until this point.
I feel like I mean, when I was younger, like maybe before I feel like there's this 32 years old, there was this big change, riveting life change, boom. And so, I know. And so, before that, I think yes, I could definitely fall in more victim thinking. But I definitely since then, I have been. I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not going to say that. I take too much responsibility for everything. Like a lot of the times, I mean, I carry a lot of burden on my like it's all my fault. Like, and how can I change this? I know I can be different. Is a constant dialogue in my head, which can be exhausting in a different way. I'm honest.
Yeah, like you're swinging from one side of the pendulum, which is nothing is in my control, to
everything. Yes.
You have actually helped with that though, like because I did this big pendulum swing, and then Anthony was helpful in that. Well, is it really? Like, I mean, is that true?
I'm kind of the worst with that because I also like just don't believe in like free will, so like I'm like pulling her the other way, but she's trying to go the opposite direction, so she's like in the middle.
Yeah,
now
it's balanced. So.
I think I want to argue the point, and obviously they're different perspectives, so it's not really an argument. That somebody who says it's just the way I am doesn't want to change. I think sometimes it can also be a seeking or even a chasing of acceptance. Because sometimes people go through their whole life with their family members or friends wanting them to be different than who they are. And it's like, this is me. Right. And so it could be just like this putting sounds, I guess it's Halloween. So putting a stake in the ground around, this is who I am. Yeah. And maybe it doesn't mean that they think it's a bad thing. Maybe it's, obviously there's certain reasons and times it could be bad if it's harmful. But I do think sometimes it's just who I am is more of a statement of, I want to claim who I am and I want you to hear that I am the way I am, and be in acceptance with that with me. And that
Mhm.
might be they're in that victim place, but it also might be
Mhm.
the beginning of their volunteer place. We
Mm.
just don't know. And so being able to validate in, and if we're coaching, obviously sincere validation, I might even change the question to, let's see, if I'm just the way, this is just who I am. Tell me about the just, or
You know,
what's behind that? What is the feeling behind this statement that comes up for you? Right. So not making it wrong. Like, this is the way I am. That is just another
Mhm.
thought that came to me while
no,
everybody.
and I love you saying that because I think it's really so. Recently, I kind of had this a new way of looking at how to be inclusive presented to me, and I really like it because like in the fitness world, one of the ways we talk about being inclusive is we present modifications and assists, but typically we have like a laundry list of what those things are, and we just sort of offer them freely. But the truly inclusive thing to do is to stop and listen to your client and hear what is happening with their body and make the suggestion as if it is
Mhm.
based on what they are presenting and how they're feeling and listening to them, and not just assuming that these things will blanket work for everybody as modifications. And I experienced that last night, kind of this situation where I'm trying to do a trick, an aerial trick where I have had my knee replaced. We're doing knee hangs, and I have to go to a single knee hang, but I have to pull my knee through in order to do it. So I'm having my choices. I either hang on my knee that is strong and take my knee that is not strong off and try to reach it through a very small hole, but that knee does not bend very far. Or I use my knee that is not as strong to hang on, which is scary for a different reason, and I pull my knee through. And it was one of those moments where it's like, this is who I am and this is what my body is. And I feel like when you talk about knee replacement, nobody can pass judgment on me for having a knee replacement, right? So we literally, instead, my coach had to sit and we just had to like talk through what was possible and the things I could try. And then maybe eventually that trick just looks different for me, right? That trick just isn't this exact trick. It just becomes something a little different for me and my body. But it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, if we remove the judgment, which is really easy for us to do when somebody says this is just who I am and it's about something going on up here, but this is just who I am when it's something physical, there's nothing I can, you can do about that right now. So like, I love you sharing that other perspective because it opened up more understanding and like to take judgment out of that, right? And to just meet it with acceptance and take it from there. What do you
Yeah.
need? That being who you are, what do you need right now?
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that too, Misha, because it's got me thinking like, am I willing to fully accept and see her while she's being incredibly hard on herself and beating herself up and not try to help? Am I willing to just be there as is, as a friend? So that was good for me to hear. I did ultimately say to her that whether you choose to reflect and reframe any of these thoughts, like there's something wrong with me, whether you do or don't do that, there's no right or wrong. And I'm here for you unconditionally. But I think I need to continue to reinforce that rather than offer unsolicited coaching questions when she really is struggling and thinking things that are very self-critical. So that was good
Yeah.
for me to hear.
And you can be her friend. You can refer her to me to coach her. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
You're the best of friend to do that.
So I did look something up while we were on this call. I looked up the psychology behind your brain or the psychology between your brain being like a haunted house. And it came up with some things that are really interesting. So the jump scares is the amygdala response, right? The initial scare triggers the amygdala, the brain's fear processing center. And this activates the parasympathetic nervous system, leading to a surge of adrenaline and cortisol, which increases your heart rate, breathing, blood pressure. Okay, then you have so that was the jump scares. Then you have the haunted house, which is the prefrontal cortex, the brain's thinking circuitry, specifically the prefrontal cortex, evaluates the situation and concludes that you are in a safe, controlled environment. It recognizes that the threat is not real and that you can leave at any time.
If it's working correctly. If it's working correctly.
What's that?
I said if it's working correctly. Otherwise, it initiates the amygdala response, and it's just
right. And you've got the amygdala, and it's typically protected by the prefrontal cortex. But when you get that jump scare, right, it goes wing, and you now have the amygdala exposed.
Yeah.
So if the prefrontal cortex is working properly, but then you have the thrill, which is the dopamine and the endorphins.
That's me.
And because the danger is not real, the body's powerful fear response is not followed by actual harm. So the brain releases dopamine and endorphins, which create a feel-good sensation. And this positive feedback loops makes the fear feel pleasurable,
which is
creating a rush similar to addiction.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because this will be going to be one of our topics kind of later, is why we like being scared. So,
okay,
yeah.
Well, then I'll save the memory hippocampus because for later.
We'll let this topic haunt.
Yeah, we'll let it haunt you so you come back to it.
Wait, what did they say?
They said they're going to let the topic haunt you so you come back.
And
you're the audience.
I have to run, right? So I'm gonna let Anthony close out for me.
Get out of here.
I have to go learn how to do the Thriller dance. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, Brooke.
Okay, that should wrap it up though. With Horror 101, is your mind haunting you? If the question of whether you should be a life coach has been haunting you, exercise that ghost and come take our Coaching 101 and 102 classes where you can be a certified life coach. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And happy birthday, Jerome!
Yay! Happy birthday!
That's
Thank
right.
you guys. Thank you guys.
I already thank you, but happy birthday, Jerome!
Appreciate
happy birthday,
it.
Jerome! Happy birthday, Jerome!
All right, we'll see you guys next week with another